Good morning. As we continue our week of joy, I want to ask an almost silly question. What is the Christmas message? Likely you are thinking to yourself something like the joy of knowing that God sent His very Son to us to be born in a stable in Bethlehem. And that is the Christmas message. But before we get to that joy, we actually have to go through something else, and that is fear. In a very real sense, the Christmas message is, do not be afraid, because every time the angels show up to announce the birth of Jesus or the coming of Jesus, they have to begin by telling whoever they're talking to, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, Mary. Nothing is impossible with God. Don't be afraid, Joseph. Marry the girl. Don't be afraid, shepherds. Go into Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened. And in all of these cases, in order to get to joy, these people have to come through fear. And they have to trust God enough to let go of their fears and move forward in God's will. I wasn't even sure I liked the movie Home Alone until I saw it this year, and I discovered I really did like it. And there's a scene in the middle of it I had completely forgotten, where young Kevin, who's been left home alone while his parents' family went on a vacation to Paris and they accidentally left him at home, ends up in a church on Christmas Eve, and he encounters his neighbor, who is a rather grumpy old man and a man that Kevin has always been a little bit afraid of. And yet in their conversation, Kevin ends up having a tremendous amount of wisdom. Let me let you see this scene, and at the end of the scene, you'll see the very end of the movie, and you see kind of what happens at the end to the grumpy old man. So here's the scene of Kevin in church on Christmas Eve.
You want to know the real reason why I'm here right now?
Sure.
Came to hear my granddaughter sing, and I can't come and hear her tonight.
You have plans?
No. I'm not welcome.
At church?
Oh, you're always welcome at church. I'm not welcome with my son. You can be a little old for a lot of things. You're never too old to be afraid.
That's true. I've always been afraid of our basement. It's dark, there's weird stuff down there, and it smells funny, that sort of thing. It's bothered me for years.
The basements are like that.
Then I made myself go down there to do some laundry, and I found out it's not so bad. All this time I've been worrying about it, but if you turn on the lights, it's no big deal.
What's your point?
My point is, you should call your son.
What if he won't talk to me?
At least you'll know. Then you can stop worrying about it, and you won't have to be afraid anymore. I don't care how mad I was, I'd talk to my dad, especially around the holidays.
I don't know.
Just give it a shot, for your granddaughter anyway. I'm sure she misses you, and the presents.
You better run along home where you belong. You think about what I said, all right?
Okay. What about you?
Me?
Yeah, you and your son.
We'll see what happens. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Kevin's neighbor had something that was keeping him from fully experiencing the joy of being with his family, and that was his fear. His fear of what had happened a long time ago and how his son had reacted and continued to react, and his fear that even if he reached out to his son, he would just be rejected. And that fear of being rejected kept him from picking up the phone and calling his son. And I love the way that Kevin says, but if you don't do it, you'll never know. But if you do call him and he rejects you, then you'll know. And it reminded me a little bit of Paul telling us that insofar as it depends upon you, live peaceably with all. And I have to take the risk. I have to work through my fear to live peaceably with others. And if it doesn't work, well, then I know. Let me encourage you this day to think about what maybe difficult thing is God calling you to do. It may be a difficult thing like Mary and Joseph had to do, to go way out on a limb to do God's will. It may be simply to let go of your fear and trust God like the shepherds had to do. It may be doing something like Kevin's neighbor had to do and picking up the phone and trying to make reconciliation a very difficult and frightening thing. Whatever it is that God has for you to do this day, trust that if you will let go of your fear, trust God and move forward, there will be great joy. And we know this is true because God is with us. Amen.